Hey, in this video I'll be telling you a few of the manga that I believe that will get some sort of special edition in the future, and say specifically which I think they'll get. So, without further ado, let's get right into it. First, one that I would personally really like, Dr. Stone. For this, I mean a box set. To be fully honest, I'm not sure why it doesn't have one already. I mean, it already has 4 anime seasons, more like 6 and 1 special, which are all extremely popular, and was both nominated and won a lot of awards at the Crunchyroll Anime Awards. And after a long hiatus, the final volume has finally been released to English about 3 months ago by Viz. So every time that Viz does licensing announcements, I hope for a Dr. Stone box set. Because I haven't watched any of the anime, I don't own any of the manga, and I have read a whole 19 chapters a few years ago. But I remember loving it, so I really hope this becomes a thing, and sooner rather than later. Alright, next up that I want to talk about is an out-of-print manga, Great Teacher Onizuka. I think for this, it's more of a combination of things that makes the great contender for a hardcover or a deluxe edition. It's undeniably a classic with a very big fan base, so that's already a big reason for there to be a special edition of some sort. But in addition to that, the fact that it is and has been out of print for a very long time gives it an amazing reason to be given a hardcover. That wouldn't be the first time something like that happened to a series. Like I mentioned in my last video, you can watch that after finishing this video, please. Series like Trigun and Hellsing received deluxe editions while they had their singles out of print, which for Hellsing made the publisher realize that people do want the Hellsing singles, and so they are finally back in stock. Though the same hasn't happened to Trigun yet. I doubt this would get a box set, because if a manga is out of print, out of what would they ship the box sets of? And printing the singles exclusively for a box set seems like a very interesting choice. I'll say that. So I'm placing my bets that GTO will get a hardcover, deluxe, or some very special edition, like the JoJo's hardcovers or Full Metal Alchemist Full Metal Edition, somewhat soon. Alright, next up, maybe the most obvious one in this entire video, Jujutsu Kaisen with a box set. I think essentially everyone who understands just how popular Jujutsu Kaisen is knows that it's all but guaranteed to receive one. And the only reason it hasn't received one so far is because the English volumes aren't up to date, with volume 28 out of 30 releasing in about 2 months, then the 29th volume in a bit over 4 months, and the last volume is unknown. But I'd guess soon rather than later, because Viz would want to have the box set ready when the first part of season 3 dropped. Because if the hype is even similar to how it was with season 2, the money would just never stop flowing. For like a few months at least. But yeah, because Jujutsu Kaisen is extraordinarily popular, and plus the timing of the first part of season 3, I'd say it has a 99.9% chance of getting a box set, though I really doubt that it would get a hardcover or a deluxe edition. Alright, let's do a more interesting one, Slam Dunk. I say this is more interesting because I believe this could basically receive any and all of the special editions. The singles are finally back in stock, and there is 100% demand for a box set, especially because it has so many volumes. I think very little people would choose to buy all 31 volumes individually for $11.99 each, when they could just get a box set that would probably have the entire story. What I mean by this is that they might, I doubt, but might split the entire series into 2 box sets instead of making one super big box set. And a few extras like a poster and like an exclusive booklet, though that depends on the box set, and more likely than not coming from a Viz box set, a great price. But when I was originally thinking about a Slam Dunk box set, I couldn't shake off the mental image of Slam Dunk with a full-on leather-bound deluxe edition. I think it's literally perfect for it. I can't exactly draw or show the mental image I had because I can't draw for shit. but a similar comparison would be to the top half of the Vagabond Deluxe volumes. Just remove the bottom part, extend this, and boom. That's kind of how I'd imagine a Slam Dunk Deluxe edition. Of course, it doesn't have to be like that. Just saying, I think it's literally perfect for it. And having said the main two editions I think Slam Dunk could have, I couldn't just not mention hardcovers. Not going to lie, this might be the least appealing, or at least hardest for me to justify in my head, edition for it. Don't get me wrong, it would be great if it was announced, but compared to the absolute luxury of a deluxe edition and the convenience and price of a box set, I think a simple hardcover is the hardest to justify. Though, if they did something interesting like a connecting spine, then I think it would absolutely be worth it. What I mean for deluxes in short is that it needs the most justification for it, in my opinion. Let's do Black Clover. Now, this one is a bit on the fence for me, but I do believe that this absolutely should have and already should have received something, especially a box set, because it is so fucking long, and I'm guessing it'll end up being about as long as My Hero Academia. So it should also get 2 box sets, but the peak of the popularity was somewhere towards the second half of the original anime, and back then, it didn't get anything, which thinking back is very fucking weird. The best chance for it to get something is for the second season of the anime to come back and become as popular, if not more popular than season 1 was. But I'd like to give a cool ass proposal. Now, to be fair, I got this idea from a Daniel Peppers video, which I have no chance to find, so please be sure to check out his stuff. I'll have his channel linked below. But in one of his videos, he said that if Black Clover got a hardcover, or even better a deluxe edition, then they can make the spines or even the entire cover a grimoire. As soon as I heard that, I was like, that's such a cool idea! And so, I am mentioning it here. While I actually doubt it could receive a deluxe or even a hardcover edition, if it did, it could look awesome, with Asta's grimoire being either the first or last volume, probably the first, and the rest of the volumes are grimoires from other characters, like Yuno, Noel, Yami, etc, etc. Next, let's do a pretty unique segment, a blend of 3 series, because they each aren't long enough to be their own segments. Kaiju number 8, Dandadan, and Sakamoto Days. For Kaiju number 8, nah, for all of them, I think they'll each get a box set. And for Kaiju number 8, it's mainly because the manga has actually recently ended, and needless to say, it was very popular. And with the surprisingly successful anime, the somewhat short manga being just 16 volumes all in all, I think Viz will see this as a worthwhile investment. For Dandadan, from the 3 series, it's the one I see most talk of online about the season 2 of the anime. Before they all began airing, I saw so much hype around them, but when they were actually airing, I only saw posts about maybe the first 2 episodes of Kaiju number 8 season 2, nothing from Sakamoto Days season 2, and so much from Dandadan season 2. I mean, to be fair, it has an incredible adaptation, and I doubt many studios currently could match what Science Saru is giving Dandadan. And because of that, the manga is also getting a lot of hype. And for Sakamoto Days, pretty much as soon as the first episode of the first season dropped, everyone realized the manga is far superior. The anime might be pretty good, but the manga is just genuinely incredible. So before it began airing, it might have had the biggest hype from all of these 3 series, but it also felt like the biggest letdown, with, as you might have guessed, Dandadan getting the best anime adaptation, followed by Kaiju number 8, and then Sakamoto Days. And looking at the current manga sales, with 23 volumes, Sakamoto Days has over 15 million sales, last updated in August 2025. Kaiju number 8 has over 19 million sales, also last updated in August 2025, with the last volume, volume 16, being released literally the day of writing the script, and Dandadan has over 10 million sales. But it was last updated in March 2025, when only volume 18 of the Japanese print and volume 11 of the English print was out, and it got a 6 million volume sale increase from a few months before the first season of the anime dropped. So with an amazing season 2 airing, I think the next time it's updated, it'll be a lot higher. So they all have their arguments, but I believe that they'll all only get box sets, with Kaiju number 8 getting its box set the soonest, as the manga recently ended. Alright, finally, another manga that could have everything. Kingdom. When Kingdom was announced, I was almost sure they'd make something like they were doing with JoJo's, with their pretty unique hardcovers. But when it was leaked, and later confirmed that they were doing them in singles and in their signature line, I was both confused and more confused. I mean, it would take so long to catch up that people could literally live out probably decades of their lives with Kingdom still not being up to date. And even more so because it's still ongoing. So it almost unironically have a very similar issue to what the JoJo's hardcovers have, where they take so long to release, where someone 2 years ago checked how long it would take for the English volumes to catch up to the Japanese print. And it would take nearly 6 years at that point to catch up. And that was only including the first Part 9 volume. So with us not knowing how long Part 9 will keep running for, it's almost impossible to say even more or less how long it would take. But with his prediction, we'd catch up in November 2030. So I genuinely thought Viz was starting this whole thing all over again, but with a different series. But then I realized something. When I was checking the Kingdom pre-order volumes on Amazon, I noticed that they were doing monthly releases, not seasonal. So that's already a lot better. But I still believe that they should have made hardcovers immediately and made a monthly release with that. But with them doing it like this, I can absolutely see them making a box set with the volumes quite quickly, almost like they did with the big three, especially One Piece, where they get enough volumes for a box set and release a box set while the series is still ongoing. But I also believe that Kingdom is a series that deserves a deluxe edition, like the rest of the Seinen Big 3, Hellsing, Trigun, and a few more. So, almost with no doubt in my mind, Kingdom will both get a box set and a deluxe edition, though with them already pretty much ready to release the first volume of Kingdom with a softcover, I doubt there's much point to make just a hardcover, when a deluxe edition is almost guaranteed to sell a lot better, and just giving the general public almost like a service. Alright, that's it for this video. If you enjoyed, please be sure to like and subscribe, and if you enjoyed this video, feel free to check out the video in which I talked about the series that I wish had a box set or just to be released in English, like essentially a wishlist video that you can see on screen now. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed and I hope to see you next time. See ya!